Hey everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm back with a video that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. First of all, sorry that I haven't made any videos or much videos in the past year and a half. I've been really busy and stuff and things, but I'm going to try and hopefully get back into it slowly, just doing a few more videos because I have a few ideas for things, but yeah, I haven't done any videos where I'm actually filming for a while. I've done a few lists and top 10 things like that, but yeah, I'd like to actually get back into it. So today, as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be showing all the Tom Hanks films I own on Blu-ray. I think I have around 33 in total. I've seen all 47 of his films. He's my favourite actor, so as you can imagine, that's why I have all these movies back here. So those two piles behind me, I've just pulled out of the Blu-ray shelf, and yeah, it's all the films I own of his. As I said, I've seen more of them, but these are just my favourites and ones that I can actually buy. So there are a few films that I would like to buy, but they're not on Blu-ray yet, like The Lady Killers and that, but yeah, for now this is all I've got. And they just released his latest film, The Post, which is up there. Bought it the other day, so I was waiting for that to come before I made this video, just so I could add it to it as well. Starting with the earliest Tom Hanks film we have Splash. So we can get the glare off of this, but it's a romantic comedy film with Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah, Eugene Levy and John Candy. I'll try not to talk too much about these movies because there's too many to get through, but this is just a standard Blu-ray release, like that. Quite a good comedy film. It's pretty weak and funny, but you know, it's a pretty good watch. Next up we have from 1986, The Money Pit, which is actually a really funny movie. It's more of a slapstick style humour at a house that's falling apart. Yeah, pretty simple premise, but quite funny. One of his earlier films. A lot of his earlier comedies, it was kind of hit or miss, so that's why a lot of his films I don't have still, because some of them weren't that great. But yeah, I've just got the comedies and dramas and all that I liked. Next up we have probably the film that made him famous to begin with, Big. It was one of the bigger comedies of the 1980s, came out in 1988. And I think he was actually nominated for the Academy Award for this movie. Yeah, it is a great performance and a really great film. And this has an extended cut too, which I believe has like an extra half an hour's worth of footage or something, which I haven't actually seen yet. I've just seen the theatrical release, but this is from the UK because I don't think they have the Australian release out for some reason. But that's Big. It's a really great movie. And next I have The Burbs, which is kind of like a horror spoof comedy from 1989. A movie that I grew up watching. I've seen this ever since I was a kid. My parents loved it, and so we grew up with it. And yeah, it's really underrated. I think it's a fantastic movie. Definitely check it out if you get the chance. He has a lot of really underrated films, as I'll be talking about throughout this video. A lot of these are just standard Blu-ray releases. So yeah, that's from 1989. A really funny movie with a great cast of characters and really original. Same year he also did Turner and Hooch, which is a kind of buddy cop comedy with him and his dog. Well, not his dog, but you have to watch and find out how he gets the dog. But it's not that great. It's probably one of my lesser favourite films that I own of his, but still I enjoy watching it when I do watch it. Came out in 1989 as well, just a standard Blu-ray. So the reason I have so many of his films is because he is pretty much my favourite actor. And I love most of his films, to be honest. This is Joe vs. the Volcano from 1990. Really underrated movie. It's on like a 5.7 on the IMDb, which is ridiculous. It deserves to be at least in the 7s because it's just so great. It's the first of 3 films that he made with Meg Ryan, who they later went on to do Sleepless in Seattle and You've Got Mail. I think this is actually the best, in my opinion. Directed by John Patrick Shanley, who did Doubt. He also wrote Moonstruck, and he wrote this film as well and directed it. It's just a really profound romantic adventure comedy film with some great messages in it. The visual effects are pretty cheap and stuff, but to be honest, I love this movie. I saw it as a kid and really didn't like it, but it's not a kid's film, so that makes sense. And I saw it just a few years ago again for the first time in ages, and really just connected with it a lot more. So I highly recommend this if you haven't seen it. It's one of his best early films. Yeah, it just came out on Blu-ray last year, I think, as well, so I had to get that from the US. Next, from 1992, we have A League of Their Own. This is the 20th anniversary edition. As you can see, Madonna and Gina Davis are also in this film. This is I think it's based on a true story, and it's about the first women's baseball league and team, and Tom Hanks plays the coach, Jimmy Dugan I think his name is. Haven't seen this in a while, but it's quite good. It's kind of a bit more of a drama film, but it's also a comedy. So as you can see, he's kind of slowly starting to branch out from just comedy into drama as well with this film, and it's quite a good movie. I would highly recommend it. Then in '93, the following year, he did a film that I should be ashamed to be showing, Sleepless in Seattle. This is definitely like one of the biggest chick flicks of all time. But to be honest, I really enjoy it. I prefer Joe vs. the Volcano, as I said earlier, but this is the next film Tom Hanks did with Meg Ryan, directed by Nora Ephron, and it's not a bad movie actually. I mean, it's not like a modern kind of chick flick, but it's definitely is one, but it has great performances, very romantic, a bit silly and over the top at times, but actually quite a good dramatic romantic comedy film, and definitely one of my favourite rom-coms, I guess. So that's Sleepless in Seattle. In '93, he kind of also made out his big breakaway to drama with this film Philadelphia, which is definitely not a comedy. It's a very serious film about a man dying of AIDS, played by Tom Hanks, and he actually won his first Academy Award for this film for his performance in a leading role, and it's definitely well deserved, alongside Denzel Washington. It's a very sad movie. I've only seen it about 2 or 3 times, and I haven't seen it for quite a while. I'd like to watch it again actually. And this is another 20th anniversary edition release. This would probably be in his top 10 films for me. Really enjoy this one. Great soundtrack as well. It's directed by Jonathan Demme, who did Silence of the Lambs as well just a few years earlier. But yeah, a really good movie with a great message, and very serious and dramatic and quite sad as well towards the end. So that's Philadelphia. The following year he did probably his biggest film of all time, Forrest Gump, in '94, and won back-to-back Academy Awards because he won for Best Actor in a Feature Film for this movie as well the following year, so 2 years in a row. I think it's the only time it's ever happened to an actor or actress to win the Best Actor Award 2 years in a row, which is pretty awesome, but well deserved, especially for this film. This is in my top 5. I think it's my third favourite Tom Hanks film of all time. It's just amazing. I know a lot of people would have this as number 1, and it's definitely a close call for all of my top 3 or 5 even. Directed by Robert Zemeckis, who did the Back to the Future trilogy, Castaway, Flight, The Walk, Allied. So he's a fantastic director, and yeah, this is easily his best film in my opinion. Part of the Sapphire series. Winner of 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Yeah, it's just an incredible movie about a simple man who lives down in the South, and pretty much his life story, about the love of his life and the people he meets along the way and in the war and everything like that. It's just a really epic drama movie. It's also quite funny. It's a good comedy too. It's a bit of everything actually. Then in '95 he did Apollo 13, which is another drama in space based on a true story of the Apollo 13 launch. Big cast as well, as you can see: Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton, Gary Sinise, Ed Harris, with Tom Hanks. It was directed by Ron Howard, who did Splash, one of the early films I showed you. It's a great drama film. I hadn't seen it in a long time, but I did watch it maybe 2 months ago, and it's still really great. I think it's in my top 10 favourites as well of his films. Yeah, just another standard Blu-ray release there. I should go quicker because I've got a lot to get through. Next up we have the Toy Story trilogy. The first one obviously came out in the same year, 1995. The other 2 came out a bit later on, but I'll show you them all together because they are in a case. So number 2 came out in 1999, and Toy Story 3 came out more recently in 2010. The third one is my favourite of the trilogy, but all 3 are amazing movies. I love Pixar. They are one of my favourite animation companies, and all 3 of these films are fantastic. The first 2 don't look as good anymore, with their visual effects being made in the 1990s as the few of the first fully animated films, but Toy Story 3 still looks amazing. And the first film is there under this thingy in a special edition. Then you've got number 2, number 3, and then a special features disc for number 3. So yeah, Tom Hanks obviously voicing Woody up there. You got Tim Allen as Buzz, and yeah, just 3 amazing movies, not just for kids, but they're funny and really great for the whole family to watch, I think. So that's Toy Story. So next up we have possibly my favourite Tom Hanks movie of all time. It kind of bounces around. Also one of my favourite Spielberg movies of all time, and that is Saving Private Ryan from 1998. This is the 2-disc special edition. Very long, epic war film, very graphic and violent, but very emotional. and high drama. It's just a fantastic movie. It goes for almost 3 hours, I think, but a great cast of characters. One of Tom Hanks' best performances. I just think it's such a realistic and groundbreaking film. It came out back in 1998, but it looks so real and amazing and incredible. Better than most war films today look. So that's the Blu-ray special features disc there. That's Saving Private Ryan. I just can't say enough about this movie. It's just so good. Especially if you're into war films, definitely check it out. If you are into war films, you've probably already seen it though. Then my second favourite film of his actually came out the following year, along with Toy Story 2, and that is The Green Mile. It's another epic drama film. This one goes for over 3 hours, so quite a long movie, but well worth it. It's not boring at all. It's by the director of The Shawshank Redemption and The Mist, and yeah, just a fantastic movie. Great performances all around. I'll have to stop talking too much about all these and just get through them. Disc art there. So yeah, I can't say enough about that film either. It's just fantastic. Then in 2000, he reunited with Robert Zemeckis from Forrest Gump, director, to do Castaway, which I've heard was Tom Hanks' favourite movie to make. Obviously, being on a nice tropical desert island would be fantastic to film on. And this is the UK release, because at the time I bought it, it didn't have an Australian release, I believe. It's him sitting there with Wilson, the volleyball, in it. I actually watched, this is probably the most recent Hanks film I've watched. I watched it only a week ago, actually. Hadn't seen it for a long time, but yeah, it's also in my top 5 favourites. I think it's my 5th. So that's Castaway. Then in 2002, he did Road to Perdition. This is a very underrated film also. It's in my top 5, I think it's number 4. And yeah, it's so underrated. Just most people don't have it in their top 5 or even 10 for Tom Hanks lists that I've seen. But yeah, it comes with a cool slipcover on this Blu-ray release. It was directed by Sam Mendes, who directed American Beauty. 2002, he also did Catch Me If You Can, another film with Spielberg, also starring Leonardo DiCaprio, another of my favourite actors. So it's really great to see them together on a film. It's a really good movie, quite funny, based on a true story about a con man and the cop who's chasing him. Next one we have is The Terminal from 2004, another Spielberg one with Hanks. Pretty much a foreign guy in an airport who's stuck there, and it's a comedy about him being stuck in an airport. Sounds boring, but it's not too bad, to be honest. It's not one of his better films, but it's not bad. The Polar Express also came out in 2004. This is one of my favourite movies. It's probably my favourite Christmas movie of all time. I never liked it when I was younger, but it grew on me a few years ago. I watched it on Christmas Eve and I just thought it was fantastic all of a sudden, and so now I watch it every Christmas Eve. And it was directed by Robert Zemeckis again. This has the 3D Blu-ray as well as the regular Blu-ray, and it's the first of the 3 motion capture films that Zemeckis did, and Tom Hanks actually plays a lot of the characters in the film, including the conductor and Santa Claus and the little boy's dad. And yeah, it's a really amazing and magical film, and I really love it, as well as the soundtrack by Alan Silvestri. So next up we have the Dementia Carriage from 2006, the first in the trilogy, where Tom Hanks plays Robert Langdon, who's a symbologist. And this is actually probably my least favourite of the 3 films. I know it's the most popular one and based on the book, and it was huge when it came out. I just think it's a bit long and a bit boring compared to the other 2, but it's not too bad. And it's directed by Ron Howard as well. Da Vinci Code. It's a pretty good thriller, adventure, I guess, kind of film. And then next we have the sequel from 2009, Angels and Demons, theatrical and extended. And this is my favourite of the 3. Also by Ron Howard, who directed all 3 of the films. But this is easily the best one in my opinion. So Tom Hanks did a few films in between these movies. That was 2006, this was 2009, but yeah, I've seen those ones. I'm not really a fan, like Charlie Wilson's War and The Great Buck Howard. Then after Angels and Demons was Toy Story 3, and then in 2011 he did Larry Crown, which he directed and wrote with Julia Roberts as well, and starred in. That's just kind of a pretty simple romantic comedy film. I saw this in cinemas with my dad, and yeah, it's not too bad. Probably one of his lesser films, but it's not too bad still. Same year, in 2011, he also was in Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. Only a smaller role in this film. He was only in a few scenes because his character dies, spoiler alert. But Sandra Bullock's in it too, and it's not a bad movie. It's not one that I feel like watching much ever though, but it is pretty good. So it's a 2-disc Blu-ray digital and DVD combo pack. And next in 2012 we have Cloud Atlas, which is a big epic science fiction, action, adventure, thriller film, pretty much everything all in one, directed by the Wachowskis, who did the Matrix movies, and this came out in 2012. This is the US release with this cool glossy slipcover. You can see all the actors that are in this. It was such a huge cast of characters. And if you haven't heard of this film, it's a very confusing movie because there's, I think, about 7 or 8 storylines going on at once, all intersecting through different timelines, and all the characters play different characters in each timeline. So Tom Hanks has about 6 or 7 characters in this movie, and it's really cool. I've only actually seen it once the whole way through, and I'd really like to see it again. But yeah, this is a really cool looking Blu-ray release as well. I think we get the DVD and digital copy and Blu-ray all in there as well. So that's Cloud Atlas, and definitely worth the watch. It's a very confusing movie, but one of his better films, I think. So coming down to it now, we've only got this many to go. In 2013, he did Captain Phillips, which I also saw in cinemas. Really great movie, great performance. It's the Blu-ray and digital copy version. I saw this with my dad as well in theatres, and it was really great. Really intense film. Also in 2013 he did Saving Mr. Banks. This is the US release, Blu-ray and digital copy, with Emma Thompson, and this was just a really sweet and fun film for the whole family to enjoy, and I really liked it. It's about Walt Disney and the people who made Mary Poppins into a film, and I actually think this is better than Captain Phillips as far as entertainment and a good movie. I think Captain Phillips really has a better performance from Hanks, but overall I enjoy this movie a bit better. 2015 is the next one, which is Bridge of Spies. I saw this by myself in theatres and really loved it, got wrapped up in the story. It's a really good political thriller with Hanks, directed by Spielberg again. And yeah, I just really liked this movie. It's not a movie you can watch over and over, but it is a really great movie with great performances, great suspense, and yeah, a really good recent Spielberg film as well. So that's Bridge of Spies. In 2016 he did 3 films, the first of which is A Hologram for the King, which went under the radar a lot. This film wasn't really that popular, not many people saw it. This is the UK release, but I actually think it's the best film he did that year. It's kind of a comedy, it's a bit of a drama, it's a bit of everything, kind of an adventure film as well, but really unique story, and I like seeing Hanks come back to this kind of a film again, because it just feels like something he would have done, 10, 15, 20 years even earlier, one of his older kind of films. But yeah, that was a really good, decent film. The second one was Sully, which people thought he should have been nominated for the Academy Award again for this performance. It was a really great performance, and I did see this one in theatres with my dad again, so yeah, I haven't seen it since, I don't think. Actually I think I saw it actually once since, but yeah. This was a good movie directed by Clint Eastwood in 2016. The third and final film we did that year was Inferno, which is the third film in the Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons series. I think this is better than, only just a bit better than the Da Vinci Code, but not up there with Angels and Demons. Also stars Felicity Jones from Rogue One, Star Wars story. And this movie's not too bad, to be honest. It's just a fun kind of adventure thriller film. That's the 2-disc Blu-ray there. So those 3 films at the end there came out in 2016. And so the final film I have for this video, which I mentioned at the beginning, is The Post, which I bought yesterday on Blu-ray. A film from just last year, 2017. It came out in theatres. He also did a film that year called The Circle, but I wasn't really a fan of it, so I don't have it. But this was another one directed by Steven Spielberg and starring Hanks alongside Meryl Streep. They never made a film together before, so 2 really big names in this. The movie's quite good, especially the second half. The first half is a little slow and disjointed, but I definitely thought the second half made up for it entirely. And yeah, it was really quite a good film actually. There's some special features there, but it's just your standard 1-disc Blu-ray as well. So that's The Post from 2017. So there we have it, guys. All, I think, 33 of my Tom Hanks films, ranging from Splash right through to The Post, 1984 to 2017. Yeah, all really good movies. I'd recommend any of these films because they are all starring Tom Hanks, and they're all the ones that I enjoy. and love. And yeah, as I said, there are other films he's done that I'm not a huge fan of, but so far so good. You know, this many films out of all the ones he's made. Definitely would recommend watching any of the early comedies or later dramas or thrillers or whatever like that. And if you have any comments or questions about any of these films or my collection at all, then just let me know down the bottom in the comments section. Otherwise, I'll just let you know that I'll be back with more videos hopefully soon. Like, I'd like to show my Studio Ghibli collection and Pixar and things like that. So just, yeah, kind of look out for more videos hopefully within the next few weeks also. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.